When I look across the 21st century cities, one common theme is a focus on sustainability. I think all of us in our real estate industry can be very proud of the role that we've played in promoting sustainability over the last 10 and 15 years. But I think we're missing something. Our focus has been on what's happening in the four walls of our buildings, on getting LEED certified. But buildings don't exist in a vacuum. And the behavior and the lifestyles of the people that live and work in our buildings, that's what's really going to determine the future of the environment. I want to offer two examples this morning, two homes, and I want you to tell me which one is more green. The first is in the desert of Arizona. It's a new home featured in Domino magazine. It's got solar panels on the roof, low flush toilets, all the bells and whistles of the contemporary green home. The next example is right here in New York City. It's a walk-up, also known as a tenement, on the Lower East Side. I'll tell you a family secret. When my grandfather, my great-great-grandfather, Julius Tishman, started out in the real estate business in 1897, his first project was building a building just like this. The building pretty much looks and runs just the way it did when Julius built it. It's not LEED certified, and it likely never will be. So which home is more green? Now let's focus on the people that live in them. In that tenement on the third floor is Wally Walkup. Wally Walkup gets up in the morning, he walks to the corner, buys a cup of coffee, drops off his dry cleaning, walks a couple of more blocks to the subway, takes the subway home. On the weekends, he walks to the movies. Maybe he takes the subway back up to Broadway to catch a show. A car is totally irrelevant to his lifestyle. When you think about it, who knew that Julius Tishman, back in 1897, was green when green was just a color? So let's go back to Arizona. Carrie Cactus gets up in the morning. She gets into her Dodge Durango. She sits on the highway for an hour in traffic trying to get to work. And when work's done, she gets back in her Durango. She goes to the shopping center, parks alongside hundreds of other cars to go get dinner. On the weekend, she spends half the day in her Durango, even when she wants to go buy a cup of coffee. Can you think of a better definition of carbon heavy than a 130-pound woman driving a 2-ton machine to buy a 10-ounce cup of coffee? The real difference between Wally and Carrie is that Carrie is always trying to get there. Wally is already here. And he's not alone. 30% of the people in America who take trains or buses to work, they live right here in New York City. So if you want to see the sustainable city of the future, guess what? You're here. Why is this important? Let's go back to those 2.5 billion people moving to cities. 90% of them are in Asia and Africa. And the urban planners and the developers in countries like Nigeria and India, they're deciding their future and how they're going to respond to that wave of people. And as they do that, they are watching us closely. Now, I'll give you one note of optimism about the environment, and it comes from a strange place for optimism about the environment, and that's China. China may be too dependent on coal, and some days in Beijing, the pollution readings are downright scary. But the Chinese government is laser-like focused. Despite all these legacy environmental issues, they want to pioneer new techniques and new technologies for sustainability. I would tell you, I go to China 6-8 times a year. Been doing that for many years. I've had scores of meetings with government officials, and I can't think of a single meeting where the subject of sustainability hasn't come up. I would bet that we will learn as much from them in the future about sustainability as they learn from us.